What I was saying for the we got a new challenge. Riley Geography. We are going to be playing stuff like robots and stuff like this. So it fooled people, world, and some videos will be like geography questions. And these are doodle, there's fans, and different like the out of the ordinary. We are two type of people. The dwarfs, what are here, and this is the three people. They both started with 2. So, right.
Are there people there? I mean, maybe. Sometimes they're there, sometimes not. So maybe we can meet some new people there. All right, cool.
We may got this party from volcano.
Don't mind me. I'm just trying to figure out how to climb up this wall. I can't get up there. See, you're super tall in real life, but you're a little short in Minecraft. It looks like. Is that what's going on? Okay, now I made it up. Okay, there we go. Oh, here we go. See that in the distance? It's a village. Hey, look at that. All right. Hey, this is perfect timing because it's getting darker. So maybe we should build our house.
See how you play?
Kind of be neighbors with them. It's getting dark. Yeah, let's build. Hey,
These bands. Only did.
Flat spot, probably, right? Yeah. How about right here? This seems like a good place.
So would have put anything down. Rebels are the at the
Since it is sunset and it's getting nighttime, I'm gonna help you building the wall.
Indian is well, I don't know that why I named it. So for let's do this. What on earth? What? We can't skip these.
With TalkTalk, save on average £125 by upgrading to full fibre. Search TalkTalk Full Fibre.
Oh wow! Yeah, we got these guys protecting us. These iron golems. All right. So I think we're good to sleep in these beds and sleep in islands. So we don't have to deal with these zombies anymore. Watch out! Oh! Yeah, just destroyed him. All right. Well, I'm gonna let you sleep in your house, and then I'm gonna room with one of these villagers over here. Okay. You know, I can't very well go to bed without at least slaying one zombie. Hey you, come here. Yeah.
I chose 123 Reg because it was easy to use, it was simple, it was user-friendly. Who doesn't know a lot about building websites? Friends came around my show and said, oh, this is what I've done, and they were like, you never wrote that. I was like, I did, seriously, I did. These days you need to have a strong online presence and identity, which we now have, thanks to the website we've created. It's taken it up a level from being, I guess, a hobby that's now gone professional to now professional business.
Well, people, and the place. Oh, wow.
Okay, maybe you are tough. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks, Iron Golem.
What a
I don't know if I killed him or you killed him. It was teamwork, okay? It was teamwork, right? I think he said yes. I really appreciate you taking care of those zombies, but I kind of want to go to bed now. Do you think you could move?
Okay, we need.
Hey, he's like, I hate this bed. Let him show. Your feet are probably dirty, dude. Can I push it away? Okay, there, I pushed it off my bed. There we go. Let's see. Right?
I'm not gonna do this all video. That was too short. Let's name someone in there.
Good morning, Chad. Whoa, you got a roommate already? Yeah, look, he's jumping on my bed. He's being so rude. Whoa. Hey, you survived the night too? Yeah. I bumped in with one of the other villagers. He was not happy, but it looks like you had the kind of the same scenario over here. Hey, you know what this means? This means Chad Wildplay, the Minecraft noob, survived his first night in Minecraft. Let's go! Yeah. Dance louder. Woo! Let's celebrate! Yeah. Your first night. Heck yeah.
So the new people are way better.
What was that? Hello? Oh man, my friend died. Oh shoot. Well,
Oh, this
I'll take all
one.
the stuff and,
So this is one video to release. So read the thing we all need to do. It's stop up thing. Make your channel and that all for this video too then. My video we'll put more and stuff. I will enter into one but don't.
I played Minecraft back when it first released, and I haven't really played it much since. So it's safe to say I've never beat the game, and there's still so much I don't know about it. So we're gonna spend 100 days in survival.
Some borders.
We're gonna fight the Ender Dragon, the Wither,
Chicken.
and possibly the Warden. We'll see.
This world in 27 years old.
Hardcore. Let's be honest, I'm just really bad at the game, and I died way too many times. So yeah, we'll save
Oh, new feeling.
And with all that said,
Yeah,
sit back, relax, and enjoy the video.
So stuff it definitely. We're not biddable or not. Oh yeah, we are
Day
have
one,
rebels.
I
So
spawned in and immediately hated my world. Relatable, right? But let
This
me just say,
should
this
be
was one of the best seeds
a
I could
well.
have gotten. You'll find out why soon enough. On the first day, I started gathering some wood. And here's me failing at making planks. I don't know what I was thinking. But anyway, I got my planks, and then I made a crafting table. And then it was time to start making some
Oh, we
tools.
don't need
So,
to the-
got some
they don't
sticks,
need to the
started off with a
nation.
wooden axe, a wooden pickaxe, and then I started chopping more trees. But I was too short to grab this one, and honestly, I
This-
didn't even think about building up to
we
it. You
need
guys are just gonna have to bear with me.
Tin.
I'm warming up to this. Things get better, I promise. And then I had the bright idea of making a stone pickaxe. At first glance, the
Had
only
two-
good thing I saw about this world
I'll
was
tap
the
the volcano
full
or
everywhere. So I
this
mined
set
it,
player.
and I mined all of it. I found a little bit of iron too,
This-
but
the two
it
capitals.
was mostly coal. I then made a stone axe, packed my
And both
bags,
city
and decided it was time to start our journey
capital
into the
to
unknown.
both are
Luckily, everything
cities.
was pretty much ice, so I could just run my way over. Didn't have to swim.
If I
And I
have
didn't
any
go
army,
far. I found an
I tell you,
island
with
over here
army,
with some berries.
see a
Honestly,
bit of
I didn't know
army,
what these
huh?
were for at the time, and you know, actually, I don't think I still know.
Not
So
that much
leave a
bit of.
comment down below. So I went one more
I don't-
island over, and I found a chicken, and I was starving at this point. So I sacrificed the chicken and took its meat. Found chicken number 2, and moments later, I found another portal. Well, a broken
Right now
one
they're
anyway.
nice
So
and
I ran
peaceful.
over, quickly made a
But
furnace so I could
what-
start cooking my chicken, and then I went and checked out the chicken. At this point, I thought I
With TalkTalk Save on.
just grabbed my stuff and started exploring the rest of the island. And I found some pretty cool stuff, like this thing. But it's
On average, 125.
and I still didn't have any shelter yet. I went to the tallest part
A
of the
pound.
island, which wasn't very tall. I found a couple more chickens along
Try
the
not.
way, and when I got to the top, I started making some torches with all that coal I gathered earlier. And because I didn't have any shelter yet, I decided to be productive and just cut down some trees. It was going to be a long night, and while I was cutting my trees, this guy just randomly walks up to me. This was my first encounter
Why do you
with
order
a mob, in this
14?
world anyway. So I took a couple
That is not
swings at
cheating,
him,
I'd say.
and managed to kill him, and I tried to chop down
See
some
what
more
this
trees,
is?
but unfortunately, he wasn't the only one that wanted to fight. In fact, I almost died.
I need to
fighting
put
a
that out
skeleton.
now.
He
I
put
need
up
to
a
put
good
that out.
fight, and now my health was extremely low, and it didn't help that I kept falling from trees. Here's the point where I realized I never put on the armor. So I quickly threw it on, fought off these zombies, and I started racking up some good XP from this. But now that I had some iron, I went ahead and made a shield, along with my first piece of iron armor, the helmet, because that's all I could really make. And I was so glad to have this, because it was going to make surviving the night just a little bit easier. I found a couple sheep, but none of them were the same color. And I couldn't
Okay,
even
so
get to
the
sheep because
capital
all the mobs
is
had just
bigger,
started attacking
but
me
the
out of
side
nowhere.
city
So I left. And
or
fortunately, it was
in
almost
an area
daylight,
a bit.
so I wouldn't have to deal with them much longer. I ended up going back during the day to try and free freed the sheep. I say
30.
free the sheep, but I just killed it. Anyway, I left
We
the
are
island
the
because
downing
there were
population.
pretty much
Hope
no
that,
more animals up
yeah,
there.
for now.
And the next island I went to had some sheep.
No,
but
don't
again,
do
they weren't the
us.
same color. I grabbed this sugar cane
Oh,
and
new
continued
place. What
exploring,
up?
just trying to find as many animals as I could. I needed 3 wool of the same color to make a bed. And I was really starting to think this was never going to
Oh my!
I just wasn't finding
Two
any more sheep. Until I saw this guy. So I grabbed his wool, went around the corner, and sure enough, there's sheep everywhere. Enough sheep to make a bed, maybe even 2. I continued exploring, and I ended up making friends with this guy. I mean, just look at him. I then proceeded to take out every other animal in my path because I needed food. What I had wasn't going to last forever, and with the animal situation
That
on the
one,
other
I mean,
islands, I knew I couldn't pass this up.
Wait! Did you download Grammarly? If you want to ace this paper, then don't press submit. Grammarly helps you clean up your messy, confusing sentences to get your point across clearly. Sorry I'm late. Did you know that Grammarly checks against billions of sites and catches any accidental
So
plagiarism?
far,
Looks
we got a
like
bit
they
of.
gave plus to me. Looks like we got to the CEO position.
We got a bit of so far.
You guys see that? Yeah, that's a village.
See the one.
And I totally missed it. It could have really helped me out early game with the food situation, but I didn't see it. So I continued exploring this tiny cave and decided to settle down in here for the night. The next day I woke up and found some pumpkins
All
not too
days
far
on
from
that
where I
Honda.
was. I also came across another dog/wolf.
Only fighting, so this
The
would be
best thing I
interesting.
found was this huge
But no
hole in the
war.
ground. And
I
when
have to
saw
put
the
that
lava,
there.
I knew it was gonna
Let's
be a
see what
good place
happens.
to mine.
But obviously I'm not
So I
going
grabbed
to
some
be
of
told
these
they have
animals,
first
stuck
video.
outside, and
But
started
we
making
don't
my way
be
down.
with not.
I found some coal too, and I started mining that until all of it just randomly disappeared. I don't know why. I figured sleeping would probably help with that, so that's what I did. Day 4, I decided to start venturing into the cave, mine some more coal, and had a very interesting encounter with a spider. For me, you couldn't get me in this little hole, so I thought anyway. But yeah, I killed both of those guys and started setting up a little bit of a camp down here. That way I could cook all the meat I collected earlier and to smelt some of the iron that I've mined. Once I had the iron bars, I went ahead and made myself an iron pickaxe and iron axe as well. I also found some gold while I was down here, and I knew I'd
See how
probably need
that
that
dude's-
once I wanted to go into the nether. I set up a chest so that I could store all my junk in there and continue exploring the rest of the cave because I knew I was probably going to have tons of stuff by the time I came back up. And to complete my look, I made some iron boots. This is when I realized that the legs I put on earlier were binding. Yeah, I had no idea what that meant. So I made some iron legs, and then I tried to put them on, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't put them on. And I sat here for a solid 2 or 3 minutes trying to do this, until I Googled it and found out that you can't take off binding items. So, lesson learned on that one. I thought I'd try and make some obsidian since I knew you needed lava and water. I stumbled across a mob spawner and immediately started getting swarmed by zombies. Oh, and my stone axe picked a great time to break here. So I just had to fist fight these guys and hope for the best. But I did okay. I managed to block myself off, and I made an iron axe so I could fight these guys until their child decided to come to me. That was the real challenge. I got a couple good swings
So
in,
it,
and
but there's that I'm still in actually not the best. We got another place. Not
So I
the
quickly
best.
took out the mob spawner and checked the chest for loot. Got
The-
some gold bars,
the other
some
best
bread
is
and such. The other chest had some beetroot seeds and a golden
Pop
apple. I then
city.
came
The
across
best
this bluish teal
Let's
stuff,
see, animal
which
pop
I had no idea
city.
what it was. I started peeking
And
in
had
to
a
see if
more
I could
round
see
mass on
anything, and I saw this
population.
weird creature
It's
that was moving.
actually
and
no,
I
not
thought it was some
population
kind of new
anymore.
mob that I had never seen before. And I went down to check it out.
Whoa,
So
had
first it was
it,
making some weird noises, but didn't really think much of it. And I decided to mine it to see if it gave me anything. After fighting this spider, I went into this little room here, blocked myself off, and then found this.
51.
You couldn't believe how excited
Oh my.
I was to find this. It was only 2, but it was a good start. I continued mining, and that's when this fella came out of nowhere. And I was terrified because I still didn't quite understand how the Enderman's mechanics worked. I didn't want to look anywhere near him. As soon as he passed me, I took off running the other direction, which actually led me to more diamonds. It also led me to more of this bluish teal stuff, which I was still so curious about. Took out this mob spawner and gathered the loot, which was a little bit better than the last one, and I continued running right past these things, not understanding why they were making noise. I saw some like blue fire in the distance, so I went to go check it out, and I guess I made a little bit too much noise because this happened. This thing just started shrieking and the lights went out, and I was so confused. I had no clue what was going on, what was about to happen.
That
I was
picked up
lost.
4.
So as one would do, I naturally backed up away from it, and everything seemed fine. It was back to normal. I found another one of these chests and looted it. I decided to go a different direction this time.
That'd be
and the
probably
same thing
too.
happened. They just started shrieking. The lights went dark. They flickered a couple times, but nothing else happened beyond that. So I wasn't really sure what was going on here. And stupid me, I went back a third time because I needed to know what was happening here. But this time, it was different. I heard something breaking through the ground, and it sounded like someone had just woken up the beast. Then it started sniffing and making all kinds of other weird noises. Keep in mind, I had no idea what I had gotten myself into here. I had only heard about the Deep Dark through a friend. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know what it looked like. I just knew that whatever it was, this had to be it. So nothing was really happening yet, so I decided to go investigate a little further. The closer I got to it, the more it started to sniff, and then all of a sudden it turned around, locked eyes on me, and started coming down towards me. I blocked off the walkway so it couldn't get to me, and honestly, I thought it'd be like...
In Ballway,
where I
open a
could
new
just
place.
walk up to it, start hitting it, and it wouldn't be able to touch
I'm
me.
to put someone
I was wrong
in the
about
world that I
that.
do,
I got
and who
several
want
good
to
hits in
stay.
before it turned to me and started to attack.
Sand,
The first
sand.
hit got me down to about
Over
half
here.
health, and for some
What
reason,
to?
I started
Someone
going right back
deep
up
in
to him. That second shot sent me back into the other room, and you can see the panic start to set in. I just started putting blocks down everywhere.
Sorry,
as
I know
much
the
in between
cheating.
me and him as possible. Not that it would have done anything,
I want to
clearly,
make
but
this
it seemed like a good
away.
idea at the time. I mean, look at this. You can almost tell my hand was shaking just from the way I'm like sorting through my inventory here. But yeah,
Around
dude,
the
I was so scared. This was by far the scariest thing I've ever seen in Minecraft. All I could hear was his heartbeat and his breathing, and it sounded like he was right on the other side of the wall from me. He wasn't though, because he couldn't make it through that hallway. But once I settled down, I ran away as fast as I could, and by this point it was day 5. So I did a little bit more mining in the cave and almost died a few more times. I actually got
So write up videos.
And your skill make me there. No.
I could. On my way back home, I encountered my next challenge, the snow. And it certainly didn't help that I had a creeper chasing
Yes.
me. But yeah, it turns out you need leather boots. Otherwise, you can sink straight down to the bottom of the snow. I didn't want to die, so I just started digging my way through the hills, hoping I would eventually reach grass or dirt, and I could just walk the rest of the way home peacefully. It didn't seem like I was making much progress, so I pillared myself up high enough to have a look around. And yeah, I was pretty much surrounded by snow. And while I was up there, I decided this was the perfect time and place to make a diamond pickaxe. I spent most of day 6 digging myself out of the snow. Eventually, I made it back to the frozen water, and I wasn't really sure what direction to head. So I just kind of went this way
I want
and
someone
ended
to
up finding
steak
some
bread
coal.
on.
I ended my day on top of this hill, which had an incredible view of the sunset. Day 7, I still had no clue where I
Oh,
was,
they're toast
but
my
I did
hands,
make
and
myself
there's
a boat,
really
which
good
made
water.
being lost a lot more fun. Somehow I ended up back at the island I spent my first day on, and now that I had a diamond pickaxe, I figured I'd mine the extra
Tell me when
obsidian and try to finish the nether portal. Once I
Let
had
me
it built,
get up.
I knew I needed flint and steel to actually get this thing lit. The only issue was I didn't have any
Open.
flint yet, so I went down to the shore and started digging up the gravel. It didn't take very long before I had my first flint. I took a break to start setting up camp here, so I put down 2 chests, that way I could free up some inventory space. I had 0 cobblestone, so
Yep, I knew I was on that new
for
for this.
That way I could put down some furnaces.
Now
While I
please
was
stay.
waiting on the iron, I decided to clear out the area. There were a lot of trees, and if I was going to build a house
Did
here,
it
I
enter
needed
in-
space.
did it enter
And it's
in wall?
funny, I didn't actually end up building a house until like day 30, but the work was done. I didn't have to go back and do it, and I had plenty of materials for pretty much anything I needed. And at the end of the day, I had tons of iron waiting for me. I started the next
But in
day
this year,
crafting a new shield,
we only like one video, so I made it, so we need to have 2 or So we are the way to another rebel
It'd be a good
done.
idea to go ahead and set up a fence in case I come across any animals.
Mate,
Spoiler,
another.
I never did, at least on this island anyway. I also wanted to clear out the shoreline so that I could start my farm. It helps to be near water,
Sorry about that,
and
darling.
it seemed like the best place to put it. So I got to work, chopping down trees. On day 9, I flattened the area and started digging some trenches to allow the water to flow in. In my head, it made sense to do it this way, but I'm sure there's a better way to do your farms. So let me know down in the comments.
This I don't know
Curious.
what's he
I
up
got
and
a
it
hoe
will turn
and started planting my seeds,
This.
which I didn't have very much of, but it was enough to get us started. I crafted my flint and steel and opened the nether portal. Before I went into the nether, there was still some prep work that I wanted to get done, so I spent most of the next day farming, and I used some of the bones I got to make bone meal, which really helped speed up my farm. I did end up running out of seeds though, so I spent the next day trying to find some on the island, but I wasn't having much luck, so I went to the next island over, and I was also looking for animals during this time, but I wasn't having very much luck with that either. I ended up finding a pack of wolves. Not long after that, I found some chickens, so things were starting to look better. Instead of killing the chickens, I decided to try and lure them back home, which turned out to be more difficult than I thought. I literally had to build them a platform so that they could cross this stream. And then when I got them over there, I noticed something in the distance. It was a pack of foxes, like 3 or 4 of those guys. I didn't really think anything of it, and was pretty much focused on getting those guys across the water. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw this little guy walk up, and I think he was the distraction. I think this was all part of their plan, because next thing I know, one of the foxes is attacking my chickens. By the time I got over there, they had already eaten one of my chickens. And then while I was focused on them, remember the guy that was staring at me? Yeah, he went after my other chicken. Luckily, he survived. I think the chicken was just absolutely devastated.
I put a
because
UFO
he wasn't
on the
paying
map.
me any attention at all. Finally, I got him to start following me
post it.
again. Then out of nowhere, all the foxes start running back over, and they're going
I'm
after
gonna
my
fit
chicken
the
again. I was able to get the chicken across the water and onto the ice, but then the foxes started following us. And as soon as they got close, I ran up to them and tried to hit them away, and they were flying all over the place. But somehow, they still
what's it?
managed to get my chicken. Because he got my chicken, I had to do something I didn't really want to do. I had to put him down. So I went back home empty-handed, apart from the one chicken that got stolen from me. Day 12, I had the bright idea of building bridges in between each of the islands. My thought was this would make things a little bit easier next time
That'd be
I'm
nice.
luring animals back home. I made sure to stay far away from the island with the foxes. I went back to the place I originally found the sheep at, and there were tons of wildlife here. So much so that it just made more sense to start breeding them over here. So that's what I did. I set up a fence, and I started luring them in one by one. Before you know it, I had a whole family of sheep in there. Now my chicken just needed a friend. So I went out, got attacked by some berries, and brought this chicken back over to the fence. While looking at my inventory, I saw something, and it wasn't a good something.
There would
It
be a
was another
holiday
fox.
place.
I went on about my business and went to grab another sheep, and when I returned, the fox was inside of the fence, and there were no chickens left behind. I couldn't believe it,
Please,
because
it
I
would
had
be a
left that block outside
holiday
the fence. He
place.
was able to jump inside and destroy all
Come
of my
into this
chickens,
nice
including
peaceful
the babies.
place.
He killed the babies,
I
so
know.
once again, I had to put him down. At least he didn't get the sheep, I guess. I found another chicken and brought him
beautiful.
back so we could try and get this thing started again. I made sure that I got rid of this block, too. I couldn't bear any more loss. I was getting ready to leave when these guys showed up. I knew what they
I
were.
did only
I
place
just-
what I
guess
wanted
didn't
to
know why
stay.
they were here.
Told it if this was the rough place, they
Anyway,
told them
I
it
started
peace.
fighting them, and they were honestly kind of beating me up. They were spread out in such a way, and each of them were shooting at different times,
Or
so
tap it
it was
up.
hard to get hits in. I made my way back over towards the tree, and it worked out in my favor because then they started shooting themselves. I killed the last one, and he dropped a pretty cool flag.
no,
Before I
why
left,
is it
I noticed this
coming?
huge hole in the ground next
Oh,
to
I
the
can finally
animal
get
pen. It looked like there were a couple caves down there.
We have been
but I
playing
didn't want
in
to
the-
get into that just yet.
Oh, the
So I
harder
headed
it
back
is.
out, and I saw something. It was the village. The village from earlier in the video. It was hard to miss. So I went and checked it out. Immediately when I got there, I heard a cat, and I started raiding this guy's house. Guess what it had? Leather boots. So if we go back, we can actually walk on the snow now. I was taking literally everything in the village that I could find,
But
and
this
I
is
tried
nice
kicking the
watching.
zombie, but I failed. As I was making my way up to the top of the mountain, I started getting a message about a raid, and I had had no idea what that meant. All I saw were villagers running all over the place. They definitely seemed concerned, I just wasn't sure why. I was looking around for any bad mobs, but I just wasn't seeing anything. So I continued looting, and this guy, I'm not sure what his deal was, but he was definitely freaking out. He walked in and out of the house a bunch of times. But I found some pretty cool stuff. I found some potatoes and carrots, took some of their tools, and I was trying to trade with some of these guys, but I guess I didn't realize that they were just normal villagers. I took a quick look over the side of the mountain, and it was a long way down. I did find another nether portal up here. I couldn't find a chest though, so I just ended up leaving it and started making my way back home. Day 13, I ate some meat in front of a pig, and shortly after that, I came across this. It was one of those wandering traders. So I went up to him and I traded him to see what he had. Little did I know, there was a creeper that was right next to us. I was able to get away in time, but I'm afraid our friend here, he was not so fortunate. And his pets, well, I think they were just so sad and they didn't know what to do with themselves anymore. They just kind of walked over to where he blew up and just kind of stood there. It was like they were waiting for him to come back or something. I felt bad for them. You know, they were just kind of on their own now, fend for themselves. There was no way I could have taken care of them. I can barely take care of myself. So I headed back home and started doing some farming, specifically with sugarcane. I read on the wiki that if I was going to enchant things, I needed a lot of paper. So I wanted to get this started as early as possible. In the meantime, I was also cooking up some meat, and I noticed I was about halfway from no longer having to wear these leggings. The next day, I was ready to venture into the nether. There was only one problem. I couldn't actually get into it. It was too short. But I had an idea, and that idea was to put stone slabs down, and I would just jump on up in there. And it worked. One of my ideas actually worked. So I jumped up and entered the portal for the first time. I remember earlier when I said this was the best seed I could have gotten? This is why. I immediately spawned into a fortress. This was the entire reason I wanted to come here. I wanted to get blaze rods, and the fact that I didn't have to search around and actually find one of these was incredible. I honestly couldn't believe it, but hey, I'm not complaining. I'll take it. So I immediately started getting shot at by some of these blazes, and I've never really fought them before, so I wasn't sure on the timing of things, of when to put up my shield and when to take a hit. So I took quite a bit of damage here trying to figure that out. I actually needed to back up too, because my shield was about to break, but I was able to get my first blaze rod within 2 minutes of being in the nether for the first time. It's pretty awesome, if you ask me. This fortress looked massive too. There was just so much to explore. I went back to where I entered and looked around a little bit, got another blaze rod, and then I had my first encounter with a wither skeleton. I figured I might as well kill these guys too while I'm here, because I know if I wanted to fight the wither, I would eventually have to come back and get skulls from these guys anyway. I spent the next day killing wither skeletons and blazes, and I started to realize just how annoying it was to actually fight blazes. But these two guys, they just kept flying off every time I went to attack one. It was well worth the hassle though, because they did drop blaze rods, and you can't complain about that. At one point there were like 4 or 5 different blazes focused on me, and it was annoying. I kept getting burned, and I couldn't actually kill any of them because I constantly had fire being shot at me. I decided to leave and just take back what I had already gotten, which was 4 blaze rods. So I had back to
This is a run video on my phone. Enough with
same deal. They were pretty much
With TalkTalk, save on average £125 by upgrading to full fibre. Search TalkTalk Full Fibre.
It can be easy to get caught up in the hype. Don't get paid. Invest smart.
took out a couple skeletons and found a couple chests as well. I had my first encounter with a magma tube. Just kind of watched them jump off the side of the map. Now guys, prepare yourselves for this one. This one is a little bit embarrassing. So I had read on the wiki that you can barter with piglins and they'll actually drop ender pearls. Well, I didn't realize this didn't work on the zombified ones, so I spent the next 5-10 minutes trying to trade with this guy, and as you might expect, I didn't get anything from him. Nothing. He didn't care about my gold at all. At first I thought it was, maybe he just doesn't want my gold ore. But then I got gold bars. He didn't like those either. After I got frustrated, I looked into it and realized I can't trade with these guys. It has to be the regular piglins. So I made myself a bow and some arrows, went to sleep, and nearly got murdered in the middle of the night. Zombies were everywhere. I took a trip back over to the animal pen and gave these guys some food. And then I needed food, so I killed a couple of them. Just a few. When I got back home, I did a little bit of farming, and it was looking pretty good. I had some wheat going, some beetroots, and I think I had some pumpkin too. When I got back to the nether, I came across one of these, which I believe is called a ghast, and he wasn't very happy to see me. And looky here, I found a blaze spawner, and I brought snowballs with me this time, so I was prepared. But as usual, I got myself in a fight with multiple mobs at once. Somehow managed to survive it, and this zombie piglin decided that he wanted to get involved, so he went right in. Wouldn't recommend it, but he's gonna do what he wants. I camped this out for a little bit, and got a couple blaze rods actually. I think I ended up with 3 here. Eventually it got a little overwhelming though. There were like 5 blazes that spawned at once. I tried my best to fight them, but there was no way I was going to be able to get in there. So ended up leaving, went back to the overworld, restock on food once again. When I got back, I was fighting some blazes, and I accidentally hit one of the piglins. Next thing I know, his whole family is chasing me down. So I ran up the stairs and blocked it off. Went over to the other side and made sure that was blocked off as well. And then I just started pelting this guy with snowballs, thinking I was actually doing some damage, but I don't think it was doing very much. Now I was pretty much stuck up here for the time being, and there were 2 blazes that really wanted me dead, so I kind of blocked off their view and put my bow and arrows to use. I tunnel visioned a little too hard though, because apparently there was a blaze spawner behind me, and I almost died. But he did drop a blaze rod, so now I had to figure out how to get over there without dying to the other guys. I decided to just build over and grab it quickly, and that's when I actually saw the mob spawner, so this was great. It was like an endless way to get blaze rods. Waited for them to spawn and just tried my best to take them out. I was actually using the stairs here to kind of do like a jump shot and take them out. It worked for a little bit, but I think they must have caught on because they got me. I backed off for a little bit because there got to be too many up there, and when I got back, there was a blaze rod waiting for me. One of the blaze rods fell down, so I had to go down here to grab it, and surprise, surprise, there were 2 wither skeletons just waiting for me. So I started to panic and quickly jumped over the lava, tried to find the blaze rod, and when I got to it, I just dug myself a little hole. Yeah, I don't think they were actually behind me here, but I thought they were, so I was trying to get away as quick as possible. Instead of going out the way I came in, I figured I would just dig out a staircase up to the fortress and hopefully make my way towards the nether portal. And I spent way too much time killing these things because I had 12 blaze rods, and I guess I really only need 6 of these to be safe, but at least now I have extra. I spent the next day doing some farming, and I started off with
messing around.
I started to get a lot of this. I also went to go breed my animals,
because I don't know what else to do
in
with
the
it.
gate, and they all tried to run away. Luckily, I had
Oh,
some carrots and some wheat
snowman.
on me, so I was able to get them back in pretty easily. Except for this guy, he was doing some weird stuff. So I went back home, threw the food in the furnace, and I also made some baked potatoes. The rest of the day was spent exploring the nether, and this is when I noticed that the golden legs were finally gone. Yeah, the ones that cursed me, and now I could put on whatever pants I wanted, but we didn't have any extra pants on us, so we just went pantsless for a bit. My whole reason for coming here was so that I could start bartering with piglins. I needed ender pearls. My friend Polar Crow told me this was probably the best way to do it, so that's what I did. I followed his advice, came here. While I was trying to lure them into the hole, I just started burning randomly, and I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. At first I thought, well, maybe the floor is too hot, so I immediately ran back and threw down a block that I could stand on. Keep in mind, this was the first time that I actually stepped on this kind of block. When it happened the 3rd time, I heard the shots come off. It was just a blaze. So he must have been far enough away the first couple times that I didn't hear it. So we got back to work trying to trade these guys. And I tossed a couple things at him. I tossed a golden sword. I was throwing golden bars. I couldn't figure out why they weren't interested until this guy just ran up out of nowhere, and he seemed like he wanted it. So I decided to trap him instead. And I threw some gold ore at him, and still nothing was happening. He just took my gold ore. So after trying that multiple times and failing, I finally got the bright idea of trying gold ingots. And And what do you know? It worked. I had finally figured it out. There was only one problem. I ran out of gold. So I got to work. I started mining as much gold as I could find. Then I went back home, threw all that raw gold in the furnace, and began crafting those gold nuggets into gold bars. While I was here, I decided it was finally time to put on some pants, crafted my last gold bar, and then immediately jumped back into the nether to do some more bartering. And yeah, we're not going to talk about this. The path back to the piglins was blocked by this blaze, so I had to fight it.
So this video not ending until
I was
like
being shot at by a ghast and another blaze that I didn't see at the time. I started to panic a little bit because I didn't put my shield on yet, so I backed off, put my shield on, and next thing I know, I'm on fire again. And there's two wither skeletons at the other end waiting for me. So I took off running back towards the entrance of the fortress, where there was another wither skeleton waiting for me. I decided to jump up on the edge and build myself up to the top of the fortress, which I thought would be a great idea, but it wasn't. I was now in complete visibility of all blazes around me. The ghast was still fully focused on me, and I was also taking arrows from a skeleton. I really didn't know what to do. I was panicking. And then I decided I'll just dig straight down, but unfortunately, I wasn't quick enough. I spent the rest of day 21 trying to get back to my stuff. And, well, it wasn't going very well for us. When I turned around, there were tons of wither skeletons. And not only that, there was a regular skeleton shooting at me. A ghast focused on me. It was bad. I managed to make my way back over towards where I died, and when I jumped off the roof, there were even more wither skeletons. So what do you do in this situation? Well, I don't know, but I ran to the other side of the roof, built my way up, and then
this
I tried to jump across
is
to the other roof, and
the first thing video of the channel. Which was subscribe and like. Don't miss my next video. See you tomorrow. What, not tomorrow. See you next week.
This one didn't go any better either. I immediately got attacked by blazes, smacked by a wither skeleton, and then I kind of just died. I don't know what happened here. I'm not really sure. Anyway, I went back a third time. Then there was this guy, which I think is called a magma cube, and he almost squashed me. And when I finally made it back over to the fortress, I couldn't actually go upstairs because these blazes were they were guarding the stairs. Instead, I decided to run back to the entrance thinking I could build up, but there was a wither skeleton, and when I tried blocking its path, I must have gotten smacked by another one. Alright, fourth attempt. This time, the magma cube was back, along with the wither skeleton that just smacked me before. I didn't really have anywhere to go, so I just kind of lured him back, did a little juke, and ran right past the magma cube. At this point, it was pretty much clear for me to tower my way back up to my stuff. The only threat at this point was this blaze, and I was able to block off his view. After picking up all my stuff, I got the